Hi everyone, welcome to this series on Tosca snaps. In this video, we will explore the topic how to iterate through array in API response payload and buffer the values. For this, I am taking the example from Petstore Swagger. Copy the JSON URL from here. Go to Tosca Commander. Click on API Scan. API Scan window will get open. Use URI option. Paste the URL which we copied from the Swagger and click on OK. All the requests available as part of this pet store is loaded over here. I'm going to use find pet by status. So giving the option status is available here, and let me change the endpoint here. And click on run. Response got loaded. So it has ID, name, all the values for each pet. This is expected. Our payload is working fine. Now let's export the API test case to our project. So modules and test cases got exported into the project. Let's go to the module for response. And click on save, because we are going to use this response file to iterate through the value and then buffer it. So let's first click on save here. Give a name as response file. This will be saved as a JSON file type here. So file got saved. Let's go to scan and click on more file scan. Choose the response file which we just saved over here. Our response file request got created and it is in JSON format with all the fields that is expected from the response, like ID, name, tags, everything. For iterating through the value, we need to make some changes over here. Copy this item and make a duplicate entry there. Change it to item #n because we are going to use it for a number of times. And in the property, at the name level, change it to item star. Add a configuration parameter over here as an explicit name and give the value as true. So this is the modification that is required in the JSON file request. Now go back to the response. So you can see this is the response we are going to get it, and in this response I am going to buffer all the ID and name values. So let's see how this works. Go to the test case section. So I have the request and I have the response. Now I need to step to iterate through the value and then buffer it. So in order to iterate through the value, first I need to find out how many items are available in the test. For that, click on buffer. Use the result count property. So this will buffer the number of items available in the response. Now create a test set. Pull this request module into the test step. I'm going to iterate through each record through repetition property. And buffer the ID. So give a dynamic name to the buffer. I'm going to use repetition. Similarly, I'm going to buffer the name. change the action mode to buffer here. And at the repetition level, I am going to use the result count buffer, which we are fetching it from the previous step. So our test case is ready. So we are sending the request, getting the response. How do we pass this response into the JSON file resource here? For that, we have something called last request resource, which points to the API request, and last response resource, which points to the API response. So since we are pointing to the API response here, we are using the resources last response resource here. So this loads the response from the execution, and then it will iterate through the number of items available and take the total count. Then we are using the repetition to iterate through the array and then buffer the pet ID and pet name. Let's execute this test case and check the outcome. So we can see the execution is successful and it has done the repetition for 17 because the number of items that we got as part of the response is total 70. And let's go to the buffer and check the value. So we can see here buffer, pet ID, pet name, and all the values are stored over here. So this is how we iterate an array in the API response and buffer the values required. We came to the end of the session. Thanks for watching.